What is up there, everybody? It's Odin here. Fine Sunday evening. Hoping your weekend was pure awesome. Mine was pretty good. I enjoyed it. And to wrap it up, I'm going to tell you everything that's fit to print in the world of Odin, in the world of Broken Compass Entertainment, in the world of Shove, whatever worlds we want to delve into. Maybe in the world of Red Dwarf later, all that good stuff. So I don't know what I have to talk about this week. Oh, there's things. There's definitely things. Probably the biggest. There seems to be some movement towards moving across the country to the Midwest. So I had a second interview at a place. I feel pretty confident about it. The next step is an in-person interview, so I'll have to fly out to Missouri. It's in Springfield, which is ideal. It's the closest city to where my girls are living, the town they're living in. So, keeping my fingers crossed for that one. I'm excited for it. The job itself, I love. I think they love what I bring to the table, and I think it would be an excellent marriage. But never count my chickens before they hatch, so hopefully I'll hear back early this next week, because my last interview was late Friday, so hopefully I hear very quickly the beginning of this coming week about an in-person interview if they'll fly me out there and do all that stuff. So, and then it's just almost a formality. They don't usually fly you out, but that's like your last chance to screw it up. But that said, I'm pretty excited about it. Hopefully I get it, and then I can announce what it is, I believe, unless they tell me not to. I don't think it's anything like that where they would. But so that's exciting news. We've been drawing on this Dark Angel girl a bit more when I get time here and there. So it's coming along. I just got to do a little bit more on her feathery wings and then the background. And originally I was like, I'm just going to do a solid black background and put in white dots for stars, and that would be it. I'm like, that's too much of a cop-out, so. But that's it. Just working on it, and then I finished these up. These are going to be printed and sent out as a card set. The Broken Compass Entertainment card set, featuring all your favorite Broken Compass characters. Well, at least one from Magnificent Bastards, one from Unconditional Shove, one from Kill Them Dead, and one from another book forthcoming called Paper Machete. So those will be sent out with everyone. But I had to get that done, as it's at the printer now, and they just have to get printed as cards. So that's all part of it. Exciting time. So, and then yeah, just getting ready to get the book printed, and once I get a whole batch of those, I can send them all out to everybody. Bada bing, bada boom. But I can't express enough how excited I am to hold a physical copy of this book I've worked very, very hard on for a long time now. Knowing I would have done a lot of things different, and I will do a lot of things different next go around, but it is still it'll still be a good feeling. I also have fully mixed vocal tracks now. There is some slight changes before I'm able to send them out, but like I said, and I'm not sure which track we're going to do. I'm pretty sure which one we're going to do, but it's going to be one of the two that we're going to send out to all of the sign-ups on Indiegogo for Kill Them Dead. So if you signed up for Kill Them Dead on Indiegogo, you'll get that free MP3 download of one of the tracks that is going on the album. So that's news. What else? I also, last night, hung out with my friend Ryan Miller, another Spokane comic book creator with a book called Cascadia, who everyone should check out his book. It's not crowdfunding or anything yet, but it's his YouTube channel. He has plenty of updates. That's where most likely you'll see sample images from the book and what his progress. There's a lot of progress videos. It's a really good looking book. I'm really excited for it. So, knowing that I'm going to be moving soon, I'm like, dude, we got to hang out again. Grab some beers, have a good time. And we tied one on. We had a blast. Fucking with a bunch of people at this dive bar in Spokane. And yeah, it was fun. We had a great time. And that was cool. It was a karaoke bar, and I didn't even sing. They might have called my name. I wasn't paying attention. We were just blabbering and meeting strange, odd people. Because this bar, I've gone to many, many times. It was my favorite for a long time. It is, you never know what the hell's going to walk through that door. The eclectic nature of the crowd that is there on a Saturday night especially, you just never know. So it was fun, even if it was weird and scary at times as well. Not particularly scary, but just weirdos. And when you're dealing with weirdos, you're dealing with the unpredictable aspect. So there was that, but nonetheless, we had fun. So tonight I'm back to drinking because I want to finish this bottle of brandy. Having never tried brandy, I found that I love it with cranberry juice. And so I ran out of cranberry juice, had to buy more. But I will get through this bottle with the help of cranberry juice because I don't like brandy itself. I tried it, didn't like it. Now, like I said in my last video, I will give it a chance with some top shelf shit someday on its own. But probably not going to be my cup of tea. See what else going on. Oh, so I watched from season 1. I got through the full season 1. And I enjoyed it. It's a really good show. I can see why it's popular. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it's a lot of fun. It's dark, confusing, with lots of trying to figure out what the heck is even going on, which is fun. But I will say, the one takeaway, probably the biggest takeaway, is it has thematically and tone and writing style is very similar to Stranger Things. Which is fine. That's a recipe for success, and it's fun. You take away a lot of the nostalgia stuff that was embedded in Stranger Things being set in the 80s. Because that is not the show from. But it just had a similar feel and tone. That said, first season was really good. Excited to check out season 2, but so yeah, it's a good show. A lot of intrigue, good character, use of character in the story. It was good. And excited to see where it goes from here. Hopefully they don't just drag it out perpetually. And hopefully there is an end goal in mind. That's what I'm saying, is here it is, season 2. I'm like, how many seasons are you going to do this before you just spill the beans? What are we dealing with here? Because if they just make it drag on forever with oh, now we're adding this element, now we're adding this element, and you're like, but we still don't know what the fuck is going on, and we don't know if we're ever going to figure it out. But you kind of paint yourself in a corner there unless you have a really solid answer and final episode already in hand, so we'll see. I don't have good hopes about the ending of it because that's typically not how these kind of shows go. they drag on way too long without getting to an actual conclusion, and it drives me insane. So it's part of the reason why I don't like these kind of shows I'm like, can you just make a movie? And even if you leave the movie with a few more questions so you have a sequel, that's fine, but at least it has a... You know, you have to know eventually the universe that you're stepping into. Because it's like Twilight Zone thing. You're like, I don't know where I am. I'm in a world, I know it's strange and different, and you learn things about it. But you go... And the whole point of the show is to not know. I mean, that's really what sells it. So, but that said, I hope they have a final... And no matter what, and that's the problem with a really strong premise, it's almost like no matter what, the conclusion is never as impactful as all of the stuff leading up to it. But that's a life lesson, to be honest. Because I've always given people shit who use terms like it's a means to an end. Because I'm like, the means is the end. How you get there is more important than getting there most of the time. So you get a story premise like this, and it's like the whole intrigue of leading up to where it's going is the intrigue. That's the point. So, and it's very similar with, like creating my first book, right? I'm going to have a physical copy in hand. I'm going to send it out to everybody, and then it's like, boom, that's done. That's the conclusion of this volume 1 of Unconditional Shove. The journey of making it, anyway. And I'm going to ship it out, and that's going to be way more anticlimactic for all the work that I did going into making it, which was a hell of a journey for me. So getting there, how you get there is more important than where you're going most of the time, I would say, in life. Because if it's not, then you would look for shortcuts, you would look for easy answers, but very rarely are there shortcuts and easy answers worth taking. So the journey is the result. It's like a fighter, say. They work so hard and they want to be champion. That's their goal. I want to be champion of the world. And they put in thousands and thousands of hours training and fighting smaller fights and moving up, and thousands more hours of training and discipline and eating right and all these things. And then they finally win the championship, and it made all of that other stuff worthwhile. But without that goal in mind and without going through the process, like if you could just skip ahead and get the championship, it's pathetic. You know, that's not reality for one, but it's also not rewarding. So anyway, From's a good show. Excited to see where it goes. I'm pessimistic about it wrapping up in a good way. I think they're going to drag it on like they always do with shows. Just because season 1 ended on such a cliffhanger, like season 2 is just a continuation. You go, that's fine. The one thing I did like about Stranger Things is each season felt like a conclusion of sorts, with enough intrigue to go, next season's going to be fun, you know. So then James and I the other night, we watched Chopping Mall just because it happened to be on YouTube when we were hanging out. Like, let's watch Chopping Mall. And I actually like Chopping Mall. And it was like, oh, what a piece of shit movie. And I'm like, I know it's a piece of shit, but I like it. Not much to say about it except that it's 80s schlock. It's fun. It's stupid. It's silly. It's great. It's my kind of shit. So let's see. Well, honestly, I don't have a whole lot else to discuss. I know I get really long-winded on some of my videos, but I'll try to make this one a little shorter, a little less long-winded, and even still, this is like, it's just what I do. It's long-winded. So let's get to the Red Dwarf, and we'll do that because it's fun. So we are on to episode 4, I think. What is it? Episode 5. My bad. This episode is called Confidence and Paranoia. This one is one of my... It grew on me. I didn't like it that much when it first came out. But over the years, I've come to really enjoy it. On the strength of Craig Charles, who plays Lister, who is the main focus on this episode. So, as always, Season 1 starts off with the Season 1 intro, and Holly's floating computer head giving you the SOS distress call and the summary of the show up to this point. And Confidence and Paranoia starts with Lister just slobbing around. He's watching a sappy movie and he's just slobbing, eating, whatever. But this scene opens with Holly, who's kind of basically saying, "Hey, I've read every book there's ever been written. You know, like maybe you could just erase Agatha Christie from my memory, so I could read them again and then learn about them." So he erases Agatha Christie from his memory after a back and forth where he's just pissing Lister off and interrupting his movie in his sappy time. So, erases Agatha Christie from his memory, and then he says, "I've done it." He says, "Done what?" "I just erased Agatha Christie from your memory." And it's like, "Who's she?" You don't know because I erased her from her memory. "I don't remember asking you to do that." It's actually a pretty good little bit. But again, you really get a sense of like the drudgery of just being on this gigantic ship alone. What do you do with your time? And Lister just bums around and watches crappy movies, and then Lister interrupts him with his Rimmerisms, giving him shit about his sad, pathetic life. And he's saying, "I've done all these things. I've got this to-do list, and I got 5 of them marked off." And then Lister says, "I went down to the officer's deck," and Rimmer lets him know that he actually didn't get that one marked off, even though it was on Thursday's to-do list or whatever. So he says it wasn't decontaminated. There could be diseases or something, And we find out later that Lister ends up getting a space fever that causes hallucinations, but these hallucinations, as Rimmer explains it, become solid. So let's see here. So Lister wakes up in a fever, not feeling well, because he's got some space flu. And as I point out, he's like, "Yeah, it was just a flu 3 million years ago. Now it's mutated, morphed, and we don't know what it is." Passes out in the hallway, and the cat is very unsympathetic, as cats are. And this is where he's walking around spraying things with some kind of cologne or whatever. He's like, "That's mine, that's mine, that's mine," marking his territory, as it were. And he leaves Lister there to die. And Rimmer finds out that Lister is passed out. He's trying to get the cat to come help him. And the cat's like, yeah. He says, "Aren't you going to come help him?" And he says, "And interrupt my lunch?" He says, "What's more important, your lunch or this man's life?" And he's like, "That doesn't even deserve an answer." Then we get more stuff from the Scudders. They have to learn how to to do first aid, I guess. They're trying to put a thermometer and they poke Lister in the eye. Says, how about an anal reading? But as Lister's feeling sick, he's talking about Kachansky and how he wished he would have talked to her. He says, why didn't I just talk to her, while I had a chance? And he explains the difference between your confidence and your paranoia. He says, like, there's two people inside of you. There's your confidence that says you're great, you're dead sexy, everybody loves you. And there's your paranoia that says you're stupid and ugly and nobody likes you. And he says, just when my confidence would build me up just enough to go talk to her, then he would go on vacation and my paranoia would step in. And I think most people can relate to that sentiment at one point in their life or another. So as he's resting from he's having fevered nightmares and he's saying, get an umbrella. And next thing you know, fish start falling from the sky. And this was referenced earlier. Lister was talking about weird phenomena throughout history. One of the others is the spontaneous combustion of the mayor of Warsaw, I think it was. So then we also get that hallucination as a solid thing, as well as the fish. And the cat brings gifts to Lister to cheer him up. And it's a bunch of grapes and an apple where he's eating everything except the leftovers. He says, all this generosity's made me sleepy. So anyway, Rimmer explains to Lister that while he was dreaming and in a fevered nightmares, his hallucinations became solid. And then he goes on to tell him, you also hallucinated two different people. One is your confidence, and one is your paranoia. So that they go down to meet their confidence, or Lister's confidence and paranoia, which became solid from hallucinations. His confidence is played by a younger Colin Ferguson, who is actually much bigger than he is later in life. But he has a accent like a game show host or I don't know, he's like a mixture of all the things that Lister finds as confidence, which is hilarious because of that blazer. And then his paranoia, which wasn't nearly as well acted, but still funny. Should make this go faster. There we go. But his confidence is encouraging to Lister. He's always saying everything he should hear, wants to hear, and his paranoia is always trying to tear him down. So he hangs out with his confidence, of course. And he plays him some songs. His confidence is like, that was amazing. What an amazing song. I can't believe you wrote that. He's like, what are you talking about? I suck. And he calls it the Endling song. Which you'd have to watch it to get the joke, but that's alright. He's basically convincing Lister that Rimmer's a hologram. Why couldn't he bring Christy Kachansky back as a hologram? Anyway, Rimmer's having a conversation with his paranoia, trying to get the Scudder to stab him in the leg with a syringe, probably a anesthetic of some kind. And as he's walking up, he goes, stab him, stab him, stab him. And then he goes, oh, you haven't met our Scudder, stab him. So anyway, he talked to Holly. They figure out a way that they can have 2 holograms on the ship. So he wants to bring Kachansky back, but Rimmer will not tell him where her holographic disc is stored. So he has to figure it out. And between him and his confidence, he figures out where it is. Rimmer discovers that all the medical equipment was sabotaged and destroyed, and realizes that one of the hallucinations destroyed it. And he explains to Lister that these are hallucinations, and they're a product of your fever. They don't want you to get better because that would stop them from existing. Which is actually pretty well thought from Rimmer. Most of the time he has bad ideas and bad thoughts. So anyway, they realize they have to go outside the ship to unlock Kachansky's holographic disc. This is where Confidence admits that he killed Paranoia so that him and Lister could be together forever, which makes Lister realize that Confidence is quite crazy. And Confidence says, you could just take your helmet off if you're feeling claustrophobic. And that implodes him and he dies. Of course, it was exploded. So Lister finds the disc. He's going to bring back Kachansky. Rimmer tells him, you're going to be disappointed when you see that disc. Because when Rimmer finds out and finally creates the hologram, it is in fact not Kachansky, but another Rimmer. He says, now you got me in stereo, baby. And thus ends Confidence and Paranoia. Like I said, I hated the episode when it first came out, but it grew on me. I didn't know what that was. It grew on me, so yeah. And the next episode is called Me Squared, or Me Too, but Me Squared. M-E squared. Me Squared. Me Too. That's another great episode. That one's more focused on Rimmer. This one was more focused on Lister. And I like that they do that. They kind of go into each's psychology to really show you what the character is like. Later episodes do that quite a bit more even, but this is a start of learning their different psychologies, what their person is all about, and it really does drive home that odd couple narrative that really is the center point of the show. So anywho, I think that's all I got for this week. Let me see. If you have not, of course, sign up for Kill Them Dead. If you were a digital backer of Shove, hopefully you enjoyed it. It's very long for a digital book, but hopefully you enjoyed it. And again, anybody who's a physical backer that wanted a digital copy, you can just hit me up. I'll send it out to you. But preferably you're like me and you just want to wait for a physical, and especially if you're a color physical, like the digital is pure black and white. So again, I think that's all I got for now. There was lots of craziness this week that I had to deal with, but it's personal stuff that I don't want to talk about, so we're not going to talk about it. But as always, I will end with this saying, wherever you are in life, whatever you're doing, I certainly hope that whatever craziness life throws at you, that you're facing it with listening to your confidence and not your paranoia. That you're facing it not just with confidence, but with care. Care for those around you, especially your loved ones. and with them in mind as you make decisions that will affect them, no doubt, because they're your loved ones. They're part of your life. And so I hope you take consideration for that. And then once you have taken consideration for that, you step boldly with courage, confidence, and above all, integrity into whatever decision, whatever avenue you choose. Because life is the ultimate choose your own adventure. And yeah, I'm hoping those choices, especially if you make them with all those things in mind, are prosperous for you all. And that's about all I got. So with that, I'll end the video. Thank you once again, anybody who watched it all. Thank you for swinging by and checking it out. Until next week, I will say thank you once again, and best of luck to all of you. Until next time, this is Odin. We'll see ya.